So what's up guys, it's Ash here and welcome back to a brand new video. Now, in today's video guys, we have some tactics for one of my personal favourite formations every year, this being the 4-2-3-1. Now, the reason I've always been such a huge fan of the 4-2-3-1 is because I find it to be balanced in pretty much every area. It's good in the attack, it's good in the defence because of the amount of players that go forward, the amount of players that come back. It's also really good in the narrow areas and the wide areas because of the way the team is formatted. So I think the 4-2-3-1 is pretty much perfect in 99% of situations, which is why I like it so much. But with that aside, guys, today I do have some tactics for you, and I hope you enjoy them. If you guys want coins for FC24, make sure you check out MMOEXP.com. Their link is down in the description. They're very fast, they're very cheap, they're very reliable, and if you use my code Rema, you can get yourself a lovely 5% discount. Alright then, guys, so starting off with the tactics for the 4-2-3-1. On the defensive style, I like to have this on balanced. The reason I like balanced is because it gives you the most control over your defense. So when you want to be aggressive, you can, and then when you want to be a little bit more passive, you can also do that. When it comes to applying pressure in this game as well, we don't actually have to use any of these pressure tactics. There's something we can get onto in a moment which is just better in every way, so balanced is the way to go in my opinion. Moving on to the defensive width, guys, I keep saying this a lot to people. I prefer to have a more narrow width in the defense. This is because although people go for cutbacks all the time down the wing, they will still do that regardless of the defensive width you have. So what I think is better is to at least have a nice, narrow and compact defense to block out all of those central areas, and then when somebody wants to go for a cutback, just manually going out there. So you at least have a nice solid defense through the middle anyway. Moving on to the depth, guys, this is the thing I was on about when it came to the pressure in this game. Basically, on the new gen versions of this game, if you have your depth on 71, you'll get this automatic press from the AI. Now, this is something I've ranted a lot about recently. I made a video which is about 30 minutes long the other day talking about this. The reason 71 depth is broken is because the game basically does everything for you. It will press for you, it will completely overload the ball side, and it will also break your opponent's attacking AI without really giving you much of a stamina drain. So 71 depth, although it's absolutely broken, you pretty much have to use it at this point, otherwise you're handicapping yourself. That being said, if you are on the old gen version of the game, 55 to 60 depth is better because this 71 depth thing is new gen only. Moving on to the build-up play, guys, I like to have this on balance personally because it gives you the most controlled and varied form of build-up. When you have this on balance, you can pick and choose when and where you use each form of build-up. So if you want to play slowly, you can, and then if you want to speed it up and play a bit faster, you can also do that. So that is why I personally like balance, but just use whatever you are comfortable with. Now, moving on to the chance creation, guys, another pretty boring but very important setting here, direct passing for the chance creation. Now, the reason direct passing is so important is because it's the only chance creation tactic which will actually help you beat that park the bus defense, which happens in pretty much every game. With direct passing, your players will make a run, even into offside positions a lot of the time when you're in the box, and then when the defender follows that player that's made the run, they will track back to give you that passing option or the cutback. So it's pretty boring but very necessary, otherwise you're not really going to score much in this game. Moving on to the width, guys, because a lot of people like to go down the wings because playing through the middle is absolute trash because of these 71 depth tactics which completely congest the middle of the pitch. It's better to have at least a bit of width in your attack, so you can go down the wings when you need to, but you can still sometimes play through the middle when it is free. So 47 width has been good for me. I personally don't like making it crazy wide regardless of, you know, if somebody's playing 71 depth or not, because it's just not me and I can't do it. Moving on to the players in box, guys, we have this on 6. This is so we can get a few players into the box to finish off our chances, but we don't overcommit everybody to the point where we're always going to get counter-attacked if we lose out on possession. Corners and free kicks, guys, this is a preference thing, but I just like to have them on 1. You can pretty much do whatever you want with that. Sorry to interrupt the video, guys, but I have noticed around 90% of you that watch the videos are not subscribed to the channel, so if you are enjoying the content or finding it helpful, please consider adding that subscription as it does help me out massively. Also, don't forget to drop a like on the video as well. And with all that aside, guys, I hope you enjoy. Let's continue. Now, moving on to the player instructions, guys. On the striker, I like to have him on stay central and mixed attack. Now, we have him on stay central because we don't really want this player drifting out into the wide areas all the time, especially since this is a one striker formation. We need him to be in the middle, so we've always got somebody to finish off our chances and somebody in that central position. Otherwise, this formation can be a little bit unbalanced in my opinion. We also have him on mixed attack, as I feel like you get a lot more out of the player on mixed attack. Sometimes they'll run in behind, other times they'll come short. You just seem to get a lot more out of this player in the build-up, in my opinion. That being said, if you feel more comfortable having this player on getting behind, or you want to use that, that is also fine. So just use whatever you want with this, guys. Moving on to the left cam and the right cam, guys, we have them on a very important setting, comeback on defense, and then also get into the box for cross. Now, the reason that comeback on defense is so important in the meta of this game is because it will make this team defend in a 4-man midfield. So this left cam will come back to sit next to the left CDM, and then the right cam over here will come back to sit next to the right CDM. Now, the reason this is important is because it blocks all that space that the opponent will have to attack when they're going forward, as you will fill in that gap with this player. So it'll be like a 4-4-2 when you are defending. Makes it very difficult for your opponent to attack you down the wing and through the middle. So this setting, very important, guys. We also have them on get into the box for cross, so they're not hesitant to get into the penalty area when we are going forward. Otherwise, these players can be a little bit static on balanced crossing runs, and they can be a little bit frustrating to use, in my opinion. Moving on to the cam, guys, we leave them on the default settings mainly, and then just put him on get into the box for cross. We have him on get into the box for cross for the same reason as the other wide cams. We do want him to commit into the penalty area and get onto the end of chances when possible, but the reason I leave him alone for the most part is because I don't really want to restrict his movement all that much. Since he is a cam, he does have a bit of a free roll, and we want him to use his creative ability, and we don't want to restrict that. Moving on to the left CDM, guys, I do use a more defensive-minded player here. So on your more defensive-minded CDM, stay back while attacking, cut passing lanes and cover centre. These settings are pretty self-explanatory, but stay back while attacking obviously means he's not going to go flying forward. Cut passing lanes means he'll always look to intercept those passes and break up the play for you. And cover centre means he'll primarily focus on defending those central areas, as he doesn't need to cover the wings, as we've got both the wide cams coming back to cover those wider areas. Moving on to the right CDM, guys, I do like to use more of a box-to-box style player in this position. So on this player, we leave them on the default settings and then cover center. We have them on the default settings because they are more box-to-box, so we don't just want them to restrict to defending all the time. We kind of want them to have a bit of freedom. The only important thing is that we have them on cover center so that they do defend that central area like the other CDM. Moving on to the fullbacks, guys, on your more attacking-minded fullback, I suggest balanced overlap. The reason for this is the 4-2-3-1 is obviously still a narrow formation, so sometimes you need that wider option to help stretch out that opponent's defense and give your attackers the space to get through the defensive line, because if everybody's attacking through the middle, it allows your opponent's defense to be very tight and central. But if you have this player on balanced overlap, it forces that defensive line to stretch out a bit, and it gives your other attackers space. So this is a very useful instruction to have on one fullback. For the other fullback, guys, I just have them on stay back while attacking and overlap. This is so we always have at least 3 defenders back at a time, but when we send them on a run forward, they'll make the overlapping runs to add that extra width. As for the 2 centre backs, guys, we leave them alone. We don't touch them, and the keeper, I also leave them alone, but you can have comes for crosses and sweeper keeper if you would like. But yeah, guys, they are my tactics for the 4-2-3-1. If you have enjoyed, please be sure to drop this a like, sub to the channel if you are new, and don't forget to turn on notifications. And with all that aside, guys, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will catch you all in the next video. Peace out, guys.